Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you from the heart today. I want you to really hear this, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. The title of this message is simple, but it's powerful. Become unrecognizable in 2026. That don't mean changing your face, your name, or trying to impress people. It means changing the way you think, the way you move, and the way you live your life. See, most people want a better life, but they don't want to become a better person. They want new results while doing the same old habits. That don't work. If you want 2026 to look different, then you have to look different. You cannot carry the same mindset, the same excuses, the same laziness, and expect God to bless it. Growth, God blesses effort. God blesses faith with action. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Something most people don't want to hear, but everybody needs to understand. Personal transformation does not come from motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings change. You can feel motivated in the morning and defeated by the afternoon. If your life is built on how you feel, then your results will always be unstable. Discipline is what changes a life. Because discipline don't care how you feel. Discipline shows up when motivation is gone, when the excitement fades and when nobody is watching. See, motivation is loud, discipline is quiet. Motivation makes you talk about what you're going to do. Discipline makes you do it without saying a word. A lot of people confuse the two. They watch a video, hear a speech, feel inspired for a moment, and think change has started. But nothing changes until habits change. You don't become better because you felt something. You become better because you did something repeatedly, even when it was uncomfortable. Discipline. Waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It means studying when your friends are relaxing. It means working when nobody is clapping. It means saying no to things that feel good right now so you can say yes to something greater later. That's not exciting. That's not glamorous, but that's how transformation happens. Every successful person you admire had to master discipline before they saw results. Let me say this clearly. If you wait to feel ready, you will never move. If you wait to feel confident, you will stay where you are. Confidence is built after action, not before it. Discipline forces action, and action builds confidence. You don't wake up disciplined one day. You practice discipline until it becomes who you are. That's when people start noticing a change. I'm not talking announced, but because your behavior speaks louder than your words. Most people fail because they negotiate with themselves too much. They wake up and start bargaining. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll try again when things calm down. Discipline does not negotiate. Discipline says this is what we do now, and every time you keep that promise to yourself, you become stronger. Every time you break it, you teach yourself that your word doesn't matter. That's why so many people struggle with self-belief. They don't trust themselves because they keep quitting on themselves. Transformation requires routine. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. If your habits are weak, your future will be weak. Discipline builds strong habits, and strong habits build an unrecognizable life. The small things you do daily matter more than the big things you do once in a while. Reading 10 pages a day beats reading 1 book a year. Saving a little consistently beats waiting for a miracle. Progress comes from repetition, not intensity. Let me be honest with you. Discipline is hard in the beginning because it feels like you're giving up comfort. But what people don't realize is that undisciplined living is far more painful in the long run. Regret hurts, being stuck hurts, watching others pass you hurts. Discipline hurts for a season, but regret hurts for a lifetime. You have to decide which pain you're willing to live with. Discipline also means doing the right thing, even when nobody will ever know. That's character, that's integrity, that's growth. When you train yourself to show up privately, you won't struggle to show up publicly. What you do in silence shapes what you become in success. There is no shortcut around this. Everybody who skipped discipline paid for it later. And let me tell you something powerful. Discipline is an act of self-respect. When you are disciplined, you are telling yourself, I'm not future matters. You are saying, I deserve better than this. You stop waiting for someone to save you, motivate you, or believe in you. You become your own push. You become your own accountability. That's when life starts responding differently to you. You don't need more motivation. You need a decision. A decision to do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. A decision to stop making excuses and start making progress. When discipline becomes your lifestyle, transformation becomes buddies and gentlemen. Let me talk to you about something that changes lives when people finally understand it. Growth begins the moment you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for everything in your life. Not some things, not the easy things, everything. See, excuses are comfortable. They protect your ego. They give you a reason to stay the same and still feel justified. But the truth is, excuses are the enemy of progress. As long as you have a reason why you can't, you will never discover how you can. Most people blame circumstances. They blame their past, their parents, their finances, their environment, their bad luck. And listen, I'm not saying life is fair. Life can hit you hard. Things happen that you didn't ask for and didn't deserve. But here's the part that separates successful people from everybody else. They don't let what happened to them define what happens next. They accept reality, then they take ownership of their response. Responsibility is power because the moment you take responsibility, you regain control. When you stop blaming others, you stop giving them control over your future. Every excuse you make is a way of handing your power away. You're saying, I can't move until something outside of me changes. But transformation doesn't start outside. It starts inside. It starts the moment you say, this is my life and I'm responsible for where it goes from here. That's not easy to say because it means you can't hide anymore. It means you have to face yourself. Responsibility means looking in the mirror and being honest. Honest about your habits, honest about your effort, honest about where you've been lazy, distracted, or scared. That kind of honesty hurts, but it heals. You cannot fix what you keep denying. The day you stop lying to yourself is the day your life starts moving forward. Most people would rather be comfortable than honest. And that's why they stay stuck. Let me tell you something important. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. It means accepting that you are responsible for what you do next. You can't change the past, but you can change your decisions today. And your decisions today are shaping your future, whether you like it or not. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you are becoming. Excuses sound logical, especially when you say them out loud. I don't have time. I don't have support. But the truth is, if it matters enough, you will make time. If it matters enough, you will find a way to start small. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires ownership. It requires you to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with what you have. When you take responsibility, you also stop expecting people to save you. You stop waiting for validation, approval, or permission. You realize that nobody is coming to do the work for you. And instead of feeling depressed by that, You feel empowered by it because if nobody is coming, then you get to build it yourself. And there is strength in that realization. Responsibility builds confidence. Not the loud kind, not the fake kind, but the quiet kind that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you build self-respect. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you prove to yourself that you are capable. That belief is priceless because once you trust yourself, you move differently. People who avoid responsibility stay in the same cycle year after year. Same complaints, same struggles, same promises. But people who accept responsibility break cycles. They change family patterns. They change their financial story. They change how they think, how they act, how they live. They don't wait for life to get easier. They get stronger. Let me be clear with you. Responsibility is heavy, but it's worth carrying. Excuses feel light at first, but they become chains over time. One path leads to growth. The other leads to regret. The moment you choose responsibility, you step into your power. And once you step into that power, there's no limit to how far you can go. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people don't like to hear. But everybody who wins and eventually understands, freedom is not free. Everybody wants freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, emotional freedom. They want to wake up when want, do what they want, live how they want. But very few people are willing to pay the price for it. That price is sacrifice, and it's not comfortable. See, sacrifice means giving up something good for something greater. It means choosing long-term success over short-term pleasure. And that's where most people lose the battle. They sacrifice their future for comfort today. They sacrifice their potential for convenience. They sacrifice their dreams just to avoid temporary discomfort. But then later, they wonder why life feels limited. Let me make this plain. If you don't sacrifice now, life will force you to sacrifice later. You either sacrifice by discipline or you sacrifice by regret. There is no third option. Regret is far more expensive than discipline, but discipline requires effort right now, and that's why people avoid it. They don't realize that every lazy choice, every skipped opportunity, every excuse is a silent sacrifice of their future. Sacrifice looks lonely sometimes. While other people are relaxing, you're working. While other people are spending, you're saving. While other people are laughing at you for being serious, you're building something they can't see yet. That's the hardest part. Sacrifice rarely comes with applause. Nobody claps for the hours you put in alone. Nobody celebrates the nights you say no. But those quiet sacrifices are shaping a powerful future. A lot of people think sacrifice means losing something forever. That's not true. Sacrifice means postponing pleasure, not eliminating it. You're not saying no forever. You're saying not right now. You're saying I'm willing to struggle today so I don't have to struggle tomorrow. That mindset separates people who break free from people who stay stuck. Let me tell you something real. Freedom on the other side feels different when you paid for it. When you worked for it, when you earned it, you appreciate it more. You protect it more, you don't waste it. People who are handed things often lose them. People who sacrifice for things fight to keep them. Sacrifice also reveals how bad you really want it. When things get uncomfortable, that's when the truth shows up. It's easy to want success when it sounds good. It's different when it costs you sleep, time, comfort, and excuses. If you quit every time it gets hard, then you didn't want it bad enough, and that's okay. But be honest with yourself. Don't lie about your effort and blame the results. The problem is sacrifice. Don't feel fair in the moment. You look around and see people who seem to be doing less and enjoying more. You see shortcuts. You see people winning faster, but you don't see the full story. Everybody pays eventually. The question is when. Some people pay upfront with discipline. Some people pay later with pain. When you sacrifice today, you're buying options for tomorrow. Options to choose, not beg. Options to walk away, not stay stuck. Options to help others, not just survive. That kind of freedom doesn't come from luck. It comes from consistent sacrifice over time. Sacrifice builds strength. Every time you choose effort over ease, you get mentally tougher. You stop being controlled by your emotions. You stop needing everything to feel good to move forward. You learn how to push through discomfort, and that skill alone can change your life. Life will always challenge you. Sacrifice trained you to handle those challenges without breaking. And let me say this, sacrifice don't mean destroying yourself. It means being intentional. It means knowing what matters and what doesn't. Cutting off distractions, limiting entertainment, saying no to people who drain you, that's sacrifice too. Not everybody deserves access to your time and energy. Sometimes the biggest sacrifice is letting go of habits, environments, and relationships that keep you small. Freedom tomorrow is built by choices today that don't make sense to everybody else. That's why not everybody gets it. If it was easy, everybody would be free, but it's not easy, and that's why it's valuable. The sacrifices you make today are writing the story you'll live tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful that most people overlook. Real success is not built in public. It is built in silence. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, and praised. But the strongest growth happens when nobody is watching, when there is no applause, when there is no validation. When it's just you, your commitment, and your faith. See, silence is uncomfortable for people who need attention to feel valuable. But silence is where focus is born. When you stop explaining your plans to everyone, you stop inviting doubt, opinions, and distractions into your life. Not everybody needs to know what you're working on. Some people will discourage you without even realizing it. Others will secretly hope you fail. That's why you protect your vision by keeping it quiet. Working in silence doesn't mean hiding out of fear. It means moving with wisdom. It means understanding that results speak louder than announcements. Too many people talk themselves out of success by talking too much. They get addicted to the feeling of being heard instead of the discipline of being consistent. Talking feels like progress, but it's not. Work is progress. When you build quietly, you give yourself space to grow. You can make mistakes without embarrassment. You can adjust without explaining. You can learn without pressure. Silence gives you room to become stronger without the weight of expectations. Growth needs that space. A seed doesn't make noise underground, but it's preparing to break the surface. Faith grows in silence too. When you don't see immediate results, when nothing seems to be changing, that's when faith is tested. Anybody can believe when things are going well. Faith is built when you keep going even when there's no proof yet. Silence teaches patience. It teaches trust. It teaches you to lean on purpose instead of praise. A lot of people quit because they don't get recognition fast enough. They feel unseen, unappreciated, unnoticed. But let me tell you something. Unseen effort is not wasted effort. Every hour you put in, every discipline you practice, every sacrifice you make is adding up. Even if nobody claps for you, success is a delayed reward. Silence is the price you pay before the payoff. When you work in silence, you also learn who you really are. Without applause, you find out if you're truly committed or just chasing attention. Without encouragement, you discover your inner strength. You stop relying on people to push you, and you become self. driven. That's a powerful place to be because nobody can take that away from you. Let me say this clearly, and not everybody needs access to you during your building phase. Some people only want to be around when it's time to celebrate. That's okay. You don't need a crowd to build something meaningful. You need focus. You need consistency. You need belief. Silence helps you protect all three. Working quietly also humbles you. It reminds you that success is not about proving people wrong. It's about becoming right with yourself. When you stop chasing validation, you start chasing excellence. And excellence has a way of making noise on its own. You don't have to announce it. People will notice when the results show up. Silence teaches discipline in a different way. It trains you to show up without praise. It builds character. It strengthens integrity. When you do the work knowing nobody will ever know, you build something deeper than success. You build self-respect, and self-respect changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you move through the world. Some of the greatest transformations happen quietly. No social media posts, no big speeches, just daily effort repeated again and again. That's how you become unrecognizable. Not overnight, not with noise, but with silent consistency over time. And when the moment finally comes, when your work is ready to be seen, your silence will make the impact even louder. People will ask how you did it. They won't see the lonely nights, the self-doubt, the discipline. They'll only see the result. And that's the power of building in silence. Ladies and gentlemen, let me speak to you about something that many people run from, but the people who rise in life learn how to use. Pain is not always meant to break you. Sometimes pain is meant to build you. Everybody wants a smooth road, an easy journey, a life without struggle. But the truth is strength is not developed in comfort. Strength is developed in resistance. Pain gets a bad reputation because it hurts. But pain is also a teacher. It shows you what needs to change, what needs to heal, and what needs to grow. If you listen to it instead of fighting it, pain can guide you to a better version of yourself. Most people try to numb pain, avoid pain, distract themselves from pain, but the people who transform are the ones who face it and learn from it. Let me tell you something real. Pain demands attention. When life hits you, it forces you to stop and look at yourself. It exposes weaknesses. It reveals habits that aren't working. It shows you people who aren't really for you. That's not punishment. That's clarity. Pain clears the fog. It strips away illusions and forces you to see the truth about your life. Some of your biggest growth moments came from your hardest experiences. The failure that humbled you, the loss that changed you, the rejection that redirected you. At the time it felt unfair. It felt like the end, but looking back, you realize it was a turning point. Pain closed one door so you could walk through a better one, even if you didn't see it then. Pain also builds resilience. Every time you survive something you thought would destroy you, you get stronger. You stop fearing discomfort as much. You realize that you can handle more than you thought. That confidence doesn't come from easy wins. It comes from getting knocked down and standing back up. Pain trains you for life, but here's the key. Pain only helps you if you process it properly. If you ignore it, it turns into bitterness. If you blame others, it turns into anger. If you hold on to it too long, it turns into poison. You have to extract the lesson and release the hurt. Use the pain. Don't live in it. Learn from it. Don't become it. A lot of people stay stuck because they keep reliving their pain instead of learning from it. They replay the story. They carry the weight. They identify with the wound, and without realizing it, they build their identity around what hurt them. Healing begins when you decide that your pain will not define you. but it will refine you. Pain also has a way of sharpening your focus. When you've been through something real, you stop wasting time on nonsense. You stop chasing approval. You stop entertaining drama. You realize how valuable your time and energy are. Pain matures you. It makes you selective. It makes you intentional. Let me say this clearly. You don't grow by pretending everything is fine. You grow by being honest about what hurt you and choosing to move forward anyway. Strength is not pretending you're unbreakable. Strength is acknowledging the cracks and rebuilding stronger. That's how transformation happens. Pain can either harden your heart or strengthen your character. That choice is yours. Two people can go through the same experience and come out completely different. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. The difference is not the pain itself, it's the mindset. When you learn to use pain as fuel, it changes you. It pushes you to work harder, think deeper, and live with purpose. It reminds you that life is short and potential is precious. It wakes you up, and once you wake up, you don't go back to sleep. Pain didn't come to ruin you. It came to rebuild you in a way comfort never could. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear with you today. Your future is not asking for the same version of you that exists right now. Your future is demanding growth. It is demanding maturity. It is demanding discipline, focus, and courage. You cannot walk into a new season of life carrying old habits, old mindsets, and old excuses and expect new results. That version of you has taken you as far as it can. If you want more, you have to become more. A lot of people say they want a better future, but they are emotionally attached to their old ways. They want change, but they don't want transformation. They want blessings, but they don't want responsibility, and life doesn't work like that. Every new level requires a new version of you. What got you here will not get you there. Your future needs you to think differently. You can't keep reacting to life emotionally and expect progress. Growth requires control. Control over your thoughts, your time, your energy. You have to stop letting every feeling decide your actions. Feelings are temporary, but decisions shape destiny. The future version of you is disciplined, not driven by moods. It also requires you to let go of who you used to be. That's hard for some people because identity feels safe even when it's minute and it's familiar. But familiarity is dangerous when it keeps you stuck. You can't keep saying, "That's just how I am," and expect growth. Change begins when you say, "That's who I was, but that's not who I'm becoming." The future version of you doesn't complain the same way, doesn't make excuses the same way, doesn't waste time the same way. That version understands that time is currency. Once it's spent, you don't get it back. So you become selective. You stop explaining yourself. You stop arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You move with intention. Your future also demands a higher standard. You can't live a low-standard life and expect high-level outcomes. You have to raise the bar on yourself. How you speak, how you work, how you treat people, how you treat yourself. Standards are not about confection. They're about consistency. When you raise your standards, your behavior rises to meet them. Let me tell you something important. Growth will require separation. Not everybody can go where you're going. Some people are seasonal. Some people are comfortable where they are, and your growth will make them uncomfortable. That's okay. You don't have to hate them. You just can't let them lead you. The future version of you chooses alignment over attachment. The future also requires faith, not the kind of faith that just waits and hopes, but the kind that works. Faith without effort is just wishing. You have to believe enough to move even when the path isn't clear, even when results are slow, even when doubt shows up. Faith is continuing to show up when evidence hasn't arrived yet. That future version of you is patient. It understands that real transformation takes time. There is no overnight success, only overnight visibility. What people call sudden success is usually years of unseen effort. You have to be willing to build without praise, grow without validation, and trust the process without guarantees. Your future also needs healing. You can't carry unresolved pain into a new season and expect peace. You have to do the inner work for let go, release resentment, heal wounds that shape bad habits. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means deciding it no longer controls you. The future version of you is emotionally lighter and mentally stronger. And let me say this, the future version of you is accountable. It doesn't wait to be pushed. It doesn't wait to be reminded. It doesn't wait for permission. It does what needs to be done because it understands what's at stake. Accountability is self, love, and action. Every day, you are either feeding the old version of you or building the new one. Every choice matters. Every habit matters. Every decision is a vote for who you are becoming. You don't wake up transformed one day. You earn it through daily alignment with the future you say you want. Your future is watching what you do today, and it's asking one simple question. Are you becoming the person I need you to be?